Originally was talking, there's your Ward II bunkers that were U-boat lookouts or submarine lookouts. And as you look down, I told you about the enfilade fire in that notch. Here's the notch, you could see it better. You could see the artillery positions there and there, which would fire onto troops caught inside here. These are walls, so these houses are down below the walls themselves. Then if somebody was attacking from the ocean side, they would get caught in this crossfire. And these fortifications ran the entire city and had 6 gates. And the gates were closed at 6 p.m. And being such, they tore down half the fortifications so they would allow the city to grow. This is the largest fortification in the New World that was ever built. It shows you the importance and the value that was placed upon this region and the resources from this region. It's not very politically correct, but history is not politically correct. It's just history. You can see more of the fortifications, and I believe this is going down to what they call the Cemetery Road. I'm going to sign off for now until I get to the fort. You can now see we're on the outer layers of the wall that goes with this building. Way up there is the fort. I'll come back. I'm going to stop here for a moment and talk to you about the difference between socio-history and military history when it comes to military fortifications. Most tours will talk about trees and iguanas and things that truly aren't relative to the item that you're visiting, like a fort. What made this so dangerous, you see how high those towers are? Each one of those notches contained an artillery piece. For an infantry unit to take that fort from leeward or land side, it would have to cross this open field up a hill under constant fire. And at this range, you're getting canister. Canister, I explained before, is nothing more than a giant shotgun. It's firing about an inch around ball, iron balls, about lead or iron balls about that big around. And then depending on the size of the cannon it's coming out of from, it could be from anywhere by 40 to 60 of them to a couple hundred. It's creating vast swaths of just devastation in where they're going. They come out in a giant cone. And you're at about the max effective range now of that particular item. Now, you get into about where that trash can's standing, you're getting into where you could actually get aimed fire by rifles. They did have rifles back in the day, but they're not like rifles you know now. Before the invention of the mini ball, they would have to take a hammer and mallet and load the round into it. It takes about 1 round every 3 minutes to fire, which was why it wasn't ineffective in mainline combat. But if you were sniping, that'd be good. And about that distance there is where you'd get into effect in that fire range. And then you get way up there where you see those 2 little ones just crossing the head. That's where you're getting into the musket fire. All of that occurring at the same time. It's a field of death. That's what this is designed for. It's not designed to be touchy-feely, worried about your emotions, 1960s hippie crap. This is actually a fortification. and what made it so deadly and so important. Look at what it dominated. It dominated the ocean and the harbor. It protected the trade coming in from Europe and leaving. It made this just examples of why the Caribbean islands were far more important than the 13 colonies of the United States, especially those Yankee colonies that everybody believes that is so important. That's not. That's fake. Pilgrims they came in behind St. Augustine. They came in behind Jamestown. They're not important. They're relative third placers in real world. But this is what you're looking at here. Now, it's a fabulous place to visit. It's hot as Hades for a fat man from the mountains. But look, you got places to play, hang out, picnic. It's all owned by the National Park Service. Although the national language here basically is Spanish, they almost all speak English. It has been essentially a colony of the United States for about 125 years. We took it. We own it. Should it become a state? That's up for debate. I don't care if it does. But I'm going to sign off now. I am at the point where you would start receiving aimed musket fire. Now remember, each one of these little notches has an artillery piece. You've been targeted coming from the land side back there at the buildings. You were within canister range. That is the deadly anti-personnel weapon of the time period. The vast majority of soldiers died from canister or bayonets in this time period. It was not musket or rifle fire that got them. It wasn't until the 19th centuries or Civil War era that the deaths from muskets, Mexican War you could say it was, were greater, started taking more into effect. That's when rifles started to become mainline battle instruments versus musket themselves. Now, remember what I told you about notches and forts? You're going into a notch to get to the main gate. You got fire coming from this side, fire coming from that side, and fire coming straight forward when you get on this little bridge. They got a moat in front of it. Moat doesn't necessarily have to be filled with water to be classified as a moat. It's a dry moat. What it does is it narrows your attackers. As you can see, all these people are grouping up on the bridge. That's what happens when you have a moat and a gate system. It forces the attacker to get grouped together on top of each other in an effort to enter. And you can see it's a moat. So that stops them from hitting them line by line and gives advantage to these. Because if you notice, the actual from the moat, the top is higher than what it is over here. That's protection from cannon fire. That's the difference between having castles and fortifications. Castles are higher because you're shooting arrows over them. Don't do that with musket and cannon. It's a different philosophy, a different style. We're in line to pay. We're inside the main plaza. It's so hot that the National Park Service put up a cooling station for fat old people like me. But you're inside of it here, and as you notice, as we go up towards the first gun platform, it has, again, a very steep angled ramp. This is a typical of the time period. Hell, we even use them now. Defensive mechanism. And this is to defend against the land.
Yeah, we're not going to get the other fort. Yeah, I mean, if we want to do them all.
Pwede din tayo dun sa kabila.
Phew.
Is this the highest bridge?
See, this overlooks the bay entrance. Soldiers would climb up on top of these and shoot at attackers coming up the hill on the land side. See it? There's your moat we crossed to come in. That's the end of it. You'll see more of it, and that's the angle this cannon would have. And by climbing up here, see, they could rest their weapon here and attack and shoot and then duck down from cover from incoming fire and protect against it. And these go all the way around. These little ones here, see, they're all on them. That's what they're for. This takes you back to what we walked up, and I discussed the ranges and type of weaponry that was used. See, there's the buildings, there's the little road thingy we walked up. The moat is right below us, so that although it looks like we're not super above the ground out there, if they come to try to climb it or scale it, it's going to be higher. It's like sunk in with a defensive berm over there and protects the main gate. Now this is a cannon spot, and they would be able to shoot that canister from direction from here to here, and it goes out in a cone, and the further it goes out, the wider the cone it is. Deadly, absolutely deadly. Way more important than that Disney stuff you're taught in U.S. modern history inside the classroom. Way more important. There's your drawbridge that we crossed. See? And you got an equal one on that side firing on the same area coming from the other side. Remember, that's on top of that moat, so all they've got's right there on that drawbridge. So whoever's coming across is receiving fire from 3 different directions. That side, this side, and straight in front of them. It's brutal. That's why the only way to really take this one without having massive casualties on your side is to lay siege, which is what happened. And over here would be part of the courtyard. And below me is that cooling station. Yep, there's your toilets. And right there is your cooling station. All this courtyard would be under fire if they happen to breach the gates from 3 different angles. Across there, the sides, and here. Breaking into a fort is not what they show you on Disney, PBS, and all that woke crap you see on CBS, NBC, and ABC. It's not the real world. It's brutal. Has one intention, and that's to defend and kill the invader. It's not there for, I'm going to make you feel good. They have part of it blocked off over here, So you can't go look at the ocean part. We'll see what else we can find. I'm gonna put you on hold. This is a gun position. You see how they got the trail here? You put the gun up, the gun would be elevated over top of the defensive. It would come up, fire, and drop down. What would it be firing on? The inlet to the port of San Juan. See it? When your cruise ship comes in, it comes in between those buoys. That's the deep section. That it would be under fire from this fort if it was an invader. Wooden ships, non-powered ships, if it's using sail, even if they use steam at the beginning, really didn't stand a chance of entering this. Later on, when you got into the dreadnought class and more recent, it obliterated this fort. It became obsolete other than for observation. But that's what you're looking at here. That is a coastal battery position. And I would wager that is the magazine. Yep, that's the magazine. That's magazine means is where they store the ammunition for the coastal battery. I'm walking to see if they have any other coastal battery positions here. I would wager there's one right there in that corner. Yep, that's a coastal battery position. And you could tell by how they have this here. This is new. That is old because you can see where it cuts off. This was a coastal battery position. I bet this is from World War II. But it came out like that. And if you can imagine the battery being here, the cannon shooting, protecting the harbor, and there's the cannon, the artillery pieces magazine. Yep, there's another U-boat pin. You see it right there? Built in World War II. They've been put up to watch out for German U-boats, as discussed in the previous at the other fort.
Down there.
And here's another coastal battery position. You could see it here. You could see where the ring was here, right? And the cannon would be up here shooting down into the port entrance. So it looks like they had 3 or 4 major coastal pieces here to protect the fortress. And this would be the magazine where they keep the ammunition for this particular piece here. A well-designed fort. And what you see, I don't know if I'm tall enough to reach over it. You see where that's at? That is a U-boat pin, U-boat lookout for World War II. That was built for that, to watch out for German U-boats when they came to the Caribbean. They got that blocked off. We can't get in. So let's go back here. And we're going in here. Those are pikes. Infantry weapons. Artillery position. This is an encased artillery position overlooking the mouth of the port, and that's where you go down the steps and you could see the shore batteries. You see them all lined up here? Good night. They got a bunch of them. This is what you're looking at here. The gun would be rolled up, fired, it would roll back, they'd get the ammo back there, redo it. Encased for protection. Nice. There's the gun emplacement, and this is the magazine for the gun emplacement. There's another gun emplacement. See? Swear. Multiple angles of fire from multiple directions. Nice.
Yeah, I believe so. You hope so? It goes back like a rock and miles.
I need to switch out batteries, which I'll do here in a moment. Now you can see where they come up with another battery position. And they would aim these particular style here by picking up the end, this end here, and manually moving it. And it would shoot, it would roll back. They'd have to roll it back into position. Take 8 to 11 men to run these things. These are 3 different cannons, 3 different sizes. That's a howitzer. This is a howitzer. The barrel's shorter, the same diameter. This is what's usually used in the mountains. That's called a mountain howitzer. It's lighter. There's the view for this particular howitzer. And then a guard or a sentry at night would be up here and stay out there and watch for approaching enemies, vessels, whatnot. See how that vessel's coming in, had to go out, started way over here. It's gonna be the same way. You're gonna have to come in straight. I know that. So they used it to their advantage. I'm gonna wait for that to open up. So the soldiers would come out here, and this is where their sentry station would be. They have relative protection from the weather. Have pretty good visibility. They could actually fire their muskets from here too and have pretty good protection, although you were exposed to enemy cannon ship fire. Being out on the point like this, even inside this type of enclosure, cannonballs would go through it. You're exposed to that, but as far as musket fire from the below, you're not really. But this is what you're looking at. Remember what I was telling you about niches and enclosures? See that one down there? All of us getting attacked. You can get shot at by all different directions just by being right there. Come on, young lady, I'll let you by. You're welcome. You ladies have a good day. Excuse me, fellas. You see, there's the back side of that World War II creation that they put on it to look for U-boats to protect the harbor interest of San Juan against incoming U-boats. I that had to be manned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the whole war. That'd get old real quick. It's about time for me to head back towards the ship. I'll film some of that so you'll know, but I'm gonna get some water to take with me. I'm gonna pause you for now. As you can tell, I'm walking down the hill towards the port, enjoying the atmosphere of San Juan. I am on my own. It's a U.S. territory in broad daylight. Lots of people around. We're in good shape. It's awful crowded. But these roads were designed for horses, not cars. Not the influx of people it gets as tourists. If you hear music, I don't own the copyright. I'm just walking by. I left the shady spot and I'm going to go walk down this shady venue here. And explore. Again, if you hear music, I'm not playing it. I don't own the rights. I'm just walking by. Hope YouTube doesn't gig me for that. This is a pretty little street. That will allow you to go underneath and beside the fort we just left. We learned that from Google Maps. Let's see if I can get around that closed spot. Going through the gate. Should be able to. It goes up and underneath the fort that way, and it should come up under it this way. Well, ain't that a pretty place to take a stop? That's San Juan Harbor. Here's part of the fortification along the harbor. Again, lookout spot there, lookout there. This will allow you to skirt the base of the fortification wall. we'll come back. Made it back to the ship. Essentially, I am going to come down here and go to Senior Frogs and get some real drinks and some real food before I get back on the ship and enjoy my rest of the shore day. And I've hit all 3 places at that time that I've wanted to see in San Juan. We'll pick up a little bit later.